Stephen Speak, a podcast about everything and nothing. Don't forget to subscribe. Hello, welcome to Stephen Speak. This is the premiere episode. Very exciting, episode number 1. Have no idea what it's going to be about. Probably just about the podcast, actually, probably. So kind of let me explain a little bit about Stephen Speak. The tagline, everything or nothing, doesn't really explain anything. It kind of means nothing, doesn't it? So the everything part of it is basically everything that's in my brain, which is a scary place to be. And a fantastic place to be, actually. And the nothing bit is basically that everything that I may say might have no meaning whatsoever. I very much doubt that. I'm a very interesting person. So this all came around, me doing the podcast all came around from my wife basically encouraging me to do it. I like to talk. Anyone that knows me knows that I like to talk. So I think she thought I could channel that into something. And this is it. So Stephen Speak. So what am I going to be talking about? Well, anything that really interests me. Anything I think might interest you as a listener. But yeah, just generally just talking about myself, experiences, things that I like. I think I'll avoid somewhat, for now at least anyway, like current affairs and things like that. Because I kind of don't want to get bogged down. I kind of want to be positive. And even though I may get a bit ranty sometimes, it's never real with me. I kind of let things go quite quickly. So, like for example, like someone cuts me up on the street when I'm driving my car, I might have a bit of an F and a Jeff, but it's gone. It's like a release for me, and it's gone. I don't hold grudges somewhat. No, I don't hold grudges. I don't. So I think that's what this is going to be. It's going to be like my brain unraveling a little bit, which is probably going to be quite cathartic for me. Hopefully along the way it'll be interesting for you, the listener. Maybe you'll think of something that you've experienced similar in your life. It might help you. It might just make you realise that you're not mental yourself, because I think we all have that time in our lives where sometimes the way your brain works scares you a little bit, and you think, I wonder if anyone else has them thoughts. Well, now you'll find out, because if I say something that you're thinking, then we can be mad together, can't we? Let's face it. Yeah, so basically, I am quite a creative person, but I can never really stick to anything. I get bored quite quickly, so to focus on one task can be quite a lot for me. So I have a lot of interests. Unfortunately, life gets in the way, and I don't really focus on them as much as I should. So this is kind of hopefully going to help me with that. I'm thinking that if I can like focus on doing this podcast and producing it and talking to you on this podcast, then it might release something in me creatively, for one, but it also might release some stress, some tension, some inner thoughts that, might help me concentrate on other things, I'm thinking. I have some of the other interests, like, for example, I'm stood in my cave at the moment, my man cave, per se, and I'll describe what I'm seeing. You don't have all day, so I will be brief. So basically, I live in like a 2 up, 2 down kind of house. It's a semi-detached. It's not a 2 up, 2 down. It's a 3-bedroom house, so it's a 3 up, 2 down. See, and I'm not going to edit this, by the way. That's another thing. This is not going to be edited. I may pause the recording every so often to take a breath or a drink, so you're not hearing me clatter around my bedroom. But you'll hear me maybe hit the microphone and stuff. I don't want it to be really, really highly produced. I want it to be me chatting to you, and if you hear me pick up a drink and stuff, you know what, so be it. I'll just try not to make it really, really obvious, so you hear me gulping down the microphone. Anyway, so I'm still in a room, in my house, and this is my room. This is my little domain. When we moved into this house, my wife was very, very nice, because I used to live on my own, and she said I could keep my little space that I had. So obviously my old house, everything was mine, all the rooms, and I kind of said to her, I said I'd love to keep my little area upstairs in one of the rooms, and we've now got a garage. I want the garage, man space, Garage is a man. I go sit in my garage. I just go out there and sit in it for no reason whatsoever. I don't even do anything. I fiddle with things. I rearrange screws and pick things up and put them back down again. It just makes me feel good to be in that space. And this is kind of like what my man cave is. I call it the cave, a bit like Adam Savage. Love that guy. You can see how random this is going to be already, I think. So I'm stood at my desk. So when we moved in, this was going to be my space. So I wanted it to be a combination of the things that I love, things that inspire me, and things that get my creative juices going. We can all get stale in the things we like to do, and it's nice to be nice to yourself, and I'm the worst person for not being nice to myself. So preoccupied with helping other people, helping my wife, being there for her, trying to make her a brew when she needs one, to the detriment of my own self. Like, I feel like I can't leave her in case she needs me, which sounds terrible and makes me sound like I'm mental. It makes it sound like I'm needy, but I'm not. I'm empathetic and I care, and yes. Anyway, so she agreed me to have this room, and it's filled with all the things that I love and things that inspire me. But having said that, I'll come to describing it in a second, I still don't do the things that I should as much as I do. So this year I decided, well, kind of like in the last month, I've really decided to really knuckle down and try and take some time for me. So the things that I'm doing in this room, inspired by the things in this room, get my creative juices going. So I'll describe the room and then tell you what the kind of things that I do in this room are. Let's get some order to this. So in front of me, it's like a rectangular room. It's got a chimney breast in, because it's an old house, like 1910s, 1915s, something like that. One window looking out to the back garden, and on the chimney breast I've got a 55-inch telly. Get that in there first. Need a massive telly. So the telly is utilised for, obviously, TV, but mainly I'm an NFL fan, so the TV is on the wall. It's where I can watch all the games. Feel like I'm in the stadium with the Eagles, because I support the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds. So the chimney breast is pretty much like a shrine to the Eagles, so it's painted midnight green with sparkles in, because when we decorate this room, we just won the Super Bowl, and I wanted to put sparkly paint on the wall, much to my wife's shock, I think, actually. I would say something else, but I couldn't really think of the word, but she was just like, sparkles, really? And I was like, yes, I'm putting glitter in the paint. So I've got a glittery wall. I love it. I don't care. There's a picture of Brian Dawkins, an Eagles safety on the wall. I can't remember the person that painted it. It's really annoying me. Spectre art, I think it is. So I imported that from America. The opposite wall also contains some Eagles and memorabilia, because it wouldn't fit on the chimney breast. So I've got like a pennant flag, and I've got a jersey, Darren Sproles Pro Bowl jersey. So underneath the telly, I've got some speakers, a record player, my Xbox, and random Philadelphia Eagles stuff. And my LPs are on the floor in boxes. Stood right in front of me, opposite the window, is like shop shelving, and of all things, kitchen worktops. Now the kitchen worktops sound odd, but it was the cheapest way of getting some massive storage in this room. Because if you go and buy cupboards and shelving, it's quite expensive. But the racking shelving for shops, the ones that are like, you make shelving, you got the, what do you call them? Oh, you have like the long, thin, slotted supports, and you have the shelving that clicks into them. You all know what I'm on about. If I could show you, you'd see. Obviously, you've all been to a shop and you've all seen them. I can't think what they're called. They have a special name. Anyway, but I made my own shelves for them. They were the cheapest way of doing it, even though it's still quite expensive, but it's cheaper than buying full, massive, built-in shelving. And the same with the kitchen units. It was the cheapest way of pretty much getting massive storage units for all my stuff. and I bought them with outdoors to make it cheaper. So I've got four large kitchen carcasses, so four large standard ones, and one like wine rack one along the back wall. And on the top of it, I made my own work surface because I didn't want to buy a work surface, so I went to B&Q and basically got them to cut me massive sheets of MDF to the right size, brought them home and just bodged it together. I'm not going to lie. It looks alright though. It looks alright, and I made myself a pull-out drawer for my keyboard when I'm typing and doing stuff like that. Yeah, so that's like my storage solution to my room. So on the shelving is completely full of Lego. I'm not going to lie. I am what is known in the Lego world as an AFOL, AFOL, an adult fan of Lego. I don't really like that term myself. I feel it's weird. I don't know why. I don't really refer to myself as that. I just grew up with Lego and I still like it, as far as I'm concerned. So I've got lots and lots of Lego all on the shelves. Bit of Playmobil as well, actually, weirdly. Just because they released a DeLorean from Back to the Future, so must have that. And I've also got the Hasbro replica of the neutrino wand from Ghostbusters, which is ace, and it's lights and sounds and all that sort of stuff. So shelving just full of Lego, which I actually have to sort out at some point and rearrange because I have so much Lego. So in the kitchen on the top of the actual work surface that I made, I have Lego compartments and sorting boxes and the Ghostbuster firehouse. And one of my other loves is Aliens, the film Alien, so the Alien franchise. So I also have an Alien cookie jar, which is limited edition, and a couple of board games that my friend bought me, which I have to count. I have to actually work out how to play it. But all the little pieces, the characters inside that you use to jump around the board, is a bit like Warhammer, so you have to paint them yourself. So got to do that. And inside all the cabinets, I've got my printer and some stationery stuff, but pretty much the rest of it is a bit of photography stuff and Lego. And underneath the cabinets, where the gap is, where the kickboard would be, is Lego. I have a lot of Lego. It's a constant battle for me to try and sort it, or trying to figure out a way of sorting it. So I'm trying to think at the moment is, do I do it by colour? Do I do it... So everything by colour, so everything that's blue goes in a big box. But then it's like, well, how do I find the little pieces or certain pieces? So then I'm like, do I do it blocks and plates? And then others, so like 3 things for blue? Or do I do it by just type of brick or colour and type? But the thing is, the more you dig down into it, the more complex it gets. And when I was a child, Lego only had, well, I can't remember what it was now. I think 9 colours, 12 colours in the 80s. Might have been more than that. I'm not an expert. Well, I should be because I've got that much Lego. But it was a lot less colours. But they have dozens and dozens of colours now. Different shades of red, different shades of orange, so many different shades of blue, and it's just different colours in general. And then you've got the clear colours, the clear versions. So you can imagine if you were gonna separate everything into type of brick, colour, variants. Then stuff for minifigures like fruit, and then you've got animals, and then you've got minifigures. Don't get me started on minifigures. I will start on minifigures. I have lots of minifigures. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Minifigures. And they're in a separate bit. I have another little storage container at the moment, which is just temporary, of 4, I think they're 12-litre drawers, and there's 4 12-litre drawers full of minifigures. Then the last time I counted, I had 500. But the last time I counted was about 5 years ago, and I probably buy at least one a week, or get them with sets, etc. And I have them on display with the sets that are on the shelves. So in front of me so far, how many the ones that aren't in the drawer, I can see at least 6, 7, 8, 12. There's at least 30 minifigures probably in front of me on the shelving, and there must be 600, 650 in the drawers. So yeah, so I have a lot of Lego. I have a little shelf above where I sit, because I used to have a little settee in here, but recently I've got rid of that, so I've just got an office chair, because this is kind of my home office for working, because I can work from home, luckily, for my job. And then back towards the window in in the alcove towards the window, I have a wall full of guitars. I have a piano, well, a keyboard, a Yamaha electric piano. I have an electronic drum kit. I have a violin on the wall, and a bass guitar, and a mandolin. Yeah, lots of instruments basically, and lots of equipment. So, can I play an instrument? Yes, I can. Am I proficient? Yeah, I'm all right. Again, it's practice, and this is what this room needs to be for me now. And this is what I've decided. It's taken me a while to get it into some order, but I've decided that this is my creative space, and I am a creative person, and I should be creating. Hence, I'm doing this podcast. Did that take a long time to get to that? I feel like it did. Enjoy my podcast. Yeah, so pretty much this is kind of an outflow. So this episode is kind of really just about this podcast and why I'm doing it, so to speak. And that was a long-winded way of saying that I want to be creative, want to be more creative, and this podcast is part of that. Cathartic, thought sharing, creativeness. Much like when I write a song, which I haven't done for a long time, which hurts my soul, which is something I need to do. So I've decided, I've recently bought myself a new Mac computer. I can hear the groans coming through from the podcast ether. Let's get this straight. Macs are good. That's it. I'm not going to say anything more. Macs are good. They're expensive, yes, but they're bloody brilliant. So I've got my Mac set up. So I've decided this year I'm going to record some songs. I've got a little 8-track recorder that I bought years and years ago, probably like 12, 15 years ago, and it's full of half-part written songs, snippets of songs, things I've tried to, just come in drunk at night when I was living on my own and single, and I'd turn my guitar on, sounds wrong, come in, turn my 8-track recorder on, really annoy my neighbours, and play something when I was drunk, but kind of write a reasonably good song, but it would be like a chorus and a bit of a verse, and I'd listen to it maybe a couple of days later and go, well, that was alright, but then do nothing else with it. And I have probably 60 songs like that, as well as some lyrics written down. So my aim for this year is to get a couple actually recorded. If I get 2 recorded, it's better than I've ever done in my life. So slowly catch your monkey, as they say. But I want to get a couple of songs done. But this podcast, as I say, is a start to like try and just release some stuff to make me feel more relaxed about being good to myself and allow me that time to do that. I don't know why I self-sabotage, really. I get a lot of anxiety when I'm being nice to myself, and I don't know where that comes from. It's really bizarre. Maybe I should have therapy, probably. But for all my creativeness, I do punish myself a lot, so it'll be a snippet of this, a snippet of that, a snippet of this, one thing to another, and yeah, it's bizarre. But at the same time, if I do allow myself that time, I fall down a bit of a rabbit hole, whereas I can't stop doing that thing. I get a little bit obsessed. So, for instance, the other night, one of the things I'm trying to do at the moment is write a book. Well, write several books, actually, because, again, I can't do one thing. So, a couple of months ago, I started writing a children's book. It's based on my dog. My dog's called Bert. Well, our dog, I should say. So, it's based on him, and I've decided to write some children's books based on him. So, I think I've pretty much completed one, and I'm working on another one, and I feel good about that, I feel like it. Actually feel like it's good, and I don't give myself praise for things neither. I hate thinking that the things I do are good. I acknowledge that I've done something and think, it's all right, and move on. But I'm actually quite pleased with what's come out of that book. Or book, it's kind of a manuscript at the moment. It's not in a shop. Hopefully, it will soon. But yeah, so I'm quite pleased with that, and that's kind of started the motion for this whole thing. So I enjoyed the process of writing that and reading it to a couple of people and them going, oh, that's really good. And sounds really narcissistic of myself that I want that praise, but no, it's nothing to do with that. It's just that it was nice to get that. It was nice to complete something, I think, actually. So I've had a couple of thoughts on my brain for other books for years. Some notes written down on a computer on a file for, God, I don't even know. Probably 15 years. So there's a sci-fi book that I'm looking at really kicking up, and I've written I think 2 chapters on that, and I read them to my wife. My wife's called Sarah, by the way. So I read them to Sarah, and she thought it was really good. She said that the imagery was amazing, and she could really get into it, and it was mysterious. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what I'm going for. So that's like a science / thriller. I don't really know. I've just started writing it. Anyway, and there's another one about memoirs, really. So funny stories from my life, but based on the industry that I'm in. So I work in the travel industry for the railway. And the book that I'm currently writing is funny stories from my time working with customers and just working with the characters that are on the railway, really. So I've written 1 chapter of that so far. So I don't think I'm writing-wise, I don't think I'm doing too badly. I'm kind of completed a children's book. I need to move on to the next step for that. Started my fiction book, and I'm kind of writing my I don't want to say autobiography, but my factual real life chroniclings, and I'm doing that as well, which is kind of cool. And this is where the podcast comes in. So I keep linking it back to this, but this is like the audible version of my brain, and I think I don't talk to people about my feelings. I don't even talk to Sarah about it, really. So the things that I'm going to put out there, not going to be like, I don't think going to be like too in depth or anything. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be a fun ride. I don't know, a fun ride. I just want to talk about things that interest me, things that pop into my brain, things that I've dreamt, dreams, stuff. It's anything. This is going to be for anything. So my description of the podcast, to come full circle, is quite accurate in the sense that it will be about everything and anything, but kind of about nothing, because I can't really describe what it is going to be clearly about, because I could say anything. And one of the things I was reading when I was like coming up with a podcast and looking about, how to market one and which sounds crazy, and what not to do. And one of the things not to do was basically make it too broad, which is exactly what I'm doing. But I don't care in the sense that I'm not doing this for you. And that sounds terrible because you're the ones that are going to be listening to me. But I'm doing this because I want to talk to the world through this medium. And if someone listens and it's amazing, thank you so much. And hopefully you'll get something from it, even if I just make you smile. Spread some joy. But if I get subscribers and it becomes popular, happy days. I just the thought that came into my head then was the song from Bugsy Malone. I have no idea why, but at the end of Bugsy Malone, there's a song and it says, "You give a little love and it all comes back to you." And I think that's kind of what I want to do. I just want to put some stuff out there to the world and see what happens. But I'm not really doing it for the reactive love. I'm just doing it because it feels good to just to do what I want to do, And we all should do that a little bit more. We all should look after ourselves a bit more. I think I'm a testament to that. Yeah. But anyway, so I don't know how the format of this podcast is going to go, so I need some feedback from you guys. If you would like it to be a bit more controlled, then I'll aim to be, but I don't think that's how my brain works. I do have a bit of a theme board going on, so I do have some things that I would like to address or talk about or just rant about. Not rant, that's the wrong word. I may rant occasionally, I can't say I won't. But there's just some subjects that I want to talk about at some point. I've got a little board and I'm coming up with things all the time to add to that, to keep things fresh, and obviously so I'm not just rambling like I am now. Yeah, but in all honesty, this is just my brain on the internet. And I'll tell you what was really weird, actually. Because I can't believe I've been talking for like nearly 25 minutes, which is madness. Have I? I don't know. Yes, I think I have. Wow. I can't tell the time, apparently, or read a clock on the Mac. Yeah, but I'll tell you what was really, really funny was when I was creating the podcast, I went on to... I've got a Photoshop program on my computer, so I went on there and literally made that logo in about 5 minutes. I found a picture of myself that I liked, cropped Sarah out of it. Sorry, Sarah. Working out what I was going to call my podcast took about 3 seconds. I was like, my name's Stephen, and I'm going to speak about stuff. And I think I came up with Stephen speaks about stuff, and then I was like, Stephen speak, I'll do. So yeah, but it kind of works because it's simple, like I am. Not that I'm simple, you know what I mean. Yeah. But the weirdest thing was, God, my brain drifts off. It was when I was ready to put the trailer on, when I recorded the trailer, and because I didn't realise you needed to record one. Podcast's new to me, so I recorded the trailer, and they said that when you put them on the directories for the different podcast hosts, because I'm using a company called Buzzsprout, so I upload the podcast to Buzzsprout, and they then basically dispatch it out to all the other companies like Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that, and then it automatically goes onto theirs. But some of the companies, it can take a while to verify the podcast, and you have to jump through a couple of hoops to prove it's you, and they verify it and all that sort of stuff. But when I saw that podcast appear on Spotify and on Apple, and it was my face, and because I've like downloaded podcasts in the past and stuff, but it was really kind of like, that's me, and it kind of spurred me on to actually carry this on, because it was kind of like, if I have 2 subscribers, then I've got to keep making content for them 2 people that are getting something out of this, and that's what I want. I want to, if someone's getting pleasure from me releasing the things from my brain, happy days. That's what I want. And that's the marvelous nature of the internet and modern technology is idiots like me can share things so readily and so easily, but it's so easy for someone that wants to listen to you, and if they want to, they will. And yeah, it's kind of a weird juxtaposition, really. But yeah, it's pretty cool, that this stuff exists, and we can create content for people's pleasure out of a room in my house with some really basic equipment. I literally have a microphone on my Mac and an audio controller, which I had for my music. So stuff I already owned is helping me produce this. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too back and forth. I think it was. I don't even know why I'm apologising. That's how my brain is. Get used to it. Yeah, so this episode was really just to kind of tell you, like, my environment that I'm in, so the room I'm in. So when I'm recording these, it'll all be done from here. Unless I'm away, I may record them if I go away somewhere. But, yeah, it's just kind of give you an idea of what to expect from future episodes. So I'm going to try and keep them all to about half an hour. So when I record the next one, it will probably have some actual subject and some content rather than me rambling about my own podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and tell me that you do. I think that's what I'm going to need. I'm going to need a bit of feedback, good or bad. If you think that it does need more structure, if you think I need to talk about certain things. Some of the ideas I've had is, like, obviously just talking about several different things throughout the episode. I've also had the idea that I'll talk on one thing and see how it takes me to the end, to see how I start and how I finish. And all these things might be interesting. And I've also thought about, just talking, about a certain thing. Maybe even narrating something, reading some excerpts of books, or telling you maybe one episode that I just list songs that I like and why I like them. And maybe these can be different segments to a series. Like I do a 15-minute podcast about a song that I like and why, and then you get a main episode every other week, and interspersed with smaller episodes about different things, which might work. I don't even know. I don't know where it's going to take me. I just know that I've kind of enjoyed speaking to you for about half an hour. Yeah, I really need a drink now. But anyway, I think anyone that knows me knows that I can chat away, and I just thank you for listening. And I think that's episode 1 wrapped up. So thanks very much, and I will see you, or speak to you at the very least. If I see you, then it means you're in my room, which would be a bit weird. So I will speak to you on the next episode of Stephen Speak. You've been listening to Stephen Speak podcast. I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button.